If you're looking for a great way to haul your accessories from point A to point B, you want a clean look to the top of your roof, and you want something that's going to be relatively pretty easy to install, then the Yakima FX Bars are going to be a great option for you. And we're going to have this on our 2023 Nissan Rogue. The Rogue does come in different options of different roofs. So we have a naked roof today, and it also comes in an option for a flush rail roof. And that's going to give you a different fitment for different roof racks. So definitely double check. Really the difference you'll be able to notice is one's going to have a raised surface to the side or on top of your roof. But today we threw up a basket just to show you an example of what you can put up here. This is great if you want to go on a road trip with your family, you need to put any of your extra luggage somewhere. Your roof's going to be a great point to place that, because for the back of our vehicle, we're not going to have a very high tongue weight. So we won't be able to carry a lot. We're actually going to be able to carry more items on top of our roof. Earlier I talked about how this is going to be easy to install, and that's going to be because this is actually only 2 parts. Typically when you have a roof rack, it's going to be comprised of 3 parts. You're going to have the crossbars, you're going to have the towers, and then you're going to have the fit kit. Now we have the large FX Yakima bars, and what that means is our crossbar and tower are going to come together built into each other. So you're going to be less likely losing anything, and it just makes that installation process easier. Now we can take a closer look at those crossbars. I'm going to take a step up here, and up top, you're going to notice we have this weather strip. I like this because this is built in. This is going to do a couple things for us. So if you have any accessories that you don't want to clamp around the bars, or you have accessories that work really well in this T-track, then you're going to have that option. But this weather strip helps prevent any debris from getting in here and helps reduce that noise. It's also nice that it is built in, because you don't have to cut anything down to size and rearrange this. And you're probably thinking, if the tower is connected to this, how are you going to get those accessories on? You actually have a point in the very center that's cut out that you can put those accessories in, just applying pressure and sliding them into place. Now you can put clamp-on accessories on here, and it's going to work really well because the shape of these bars are going to work with most things, and they're pretty narrow. That's going to have this arrow shape to them, and that's also going to help this be more aerodynamic to reduce that wind noise. And then we're going to have the tower that connects to the crossbar. We can actually get a better look at the interior of it. If I remove this end cap, we're going to have all the components that really tighten this down into place right here. And what I like about this is pretty complicated stuff, and it's not really nice to look at. So when you have this end cap at the very back of it, it just gives for more of a clean finish. Now you'll probably notice we have this lock core right here, and this is just a plastic one. You can actually get this replaced later on with a metal lock core that can be key-like to any of your other Yakima accessories. So you only have to carry around one key, and your gear is going to be more secured this way. And this is going to connect to your fit kit. And your fit kit's pretty simple. It's just going to be this pad that is flush to our roof, and we're going to have this clamp that grabs around our gutter. And this actually gives us a really secure point of sitting on our roof. We get a few measurements. The first measurement I'm going to get is going to be the distance underneath our crossbars. Here in the center, that's only going to be about 2 inches, which is fairly close to our roof. Now, if you do have a sunroof, that's definitely something to think about, especially if you have any clamp-on accessories on here, because what can happen is if that sunroof expands up, it could make contact with your clamps. Now, for the overall height, that's going to be just about a little bit over 3.5 inches, which is pretty good. That's pretty nice. So what we're losing out underneath, we're gaining up top, because this is overall going to be pretty low profile. So if you are going through a lot of low clearance areas, you shouldn't have to worry about this as much. Definitely keep in mind if you have any accessories on top of here to include that measurement. So what I'd recommend doing is taking the total height of your vehicle, your crossbars, and whatever you're hauling, so you know what areas you can make it under. As for the space that's overhanging on our vehicle, we don't have to worry about that, because that's one of the benefits of having more of this flush option. Now, we are losing a couple things there. What we're losing is the ability to put on any accessories on the very edge. So if you have any ski carriers, that's going to be really hard to access. And we're losing out on a little bit of space or real estate that we can put on our crossbars. We're also going to have a weight capacity of up to 165 pounds. Now, it is really important that you check what your roof is rated for, because if you overload your roof, you could damage it. So what I recommend doing is just finding out what your roof is rated for. You can find that in your owner's manual, and then going from the lowest rated component. But in my opinion, I think this is a great option if you're looking for a clean finish to the top of your roof and you're looking for that easier installation. Now, this is going to be a better option for those cases where you want to haul baskets or boxes. If you have anything that's longer, that's harder to reach, the further it is in, then I'd recommend some overhang options. Now, if you want to keep to this more clean design on top of your roof, another really cool choice you can make is the Thule roof rack. And what I like about that is actually the installation is a little bit easier than this, because when we were installing this, we had to make a few changes. But what this has over the Thule is you actually only have two components you have to really worry about. That's going to be the crossbar and tower combo and your fit kit. With the Thule, you have 3 separate pieces. But if you're curious to see what this installation looks like, just stay tuned and we'll walk you through it. To start off the installation, I'm going to lay everything out. Now I'm just going to have the front crossbar and what it needs out. We'll get to what we need for the rear crossbar when we get there. But we're going to have the crossbar and its towers connected to it. We're going to have the fit kit's bases and the clamps. And the clamps are going to be the B43 clamps for the front crossbar. Next up, we're going to have this soft tape measure, and you're going to have your included Yakima tool. To start off, I'm going to start prepping the bases of this, so I'm just going to flip this over. You notice we already have this foot in place, but it doesn't have a rubber pad on it. So we're actually going to keep that, and we're going to remove the rubber padding from the foot that comes with your fit kit. We'll lay that to the side, and the way you want to put this on is just matching the contours of that foot. You're just going to press this into place, and it should grab on. After that, we're going to remove this end cap. All you have to do is squeeze on the sides and pull it right off. After when that's done, you can repeat that process on the other side. And now we're going to get the M1 measurement. It's going to be similar to the M3 measurement, and that's going to be on your rear crossbars. But where we're going to go from is going to be from one tower to another tower. So that's just going to be that total distance. And if you don't know where to find that, you can find that in your instructions. The way I'm going to do this is just check it to begin with. Measuring from this line right here, this is M1 and M3. And I notice mine's a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is place my tape measure down. I'm going to come over here to these bolts. I'm going to loosen both of them. When both of them are loosened up, I'm going to adjust this tower and push it away, just roughly, and then measure again and see how close I am. And I'm still a little bit off, and what I can do actually is adjust the other side because we want to make this pretty even. A good way to check if things are even on both ends is actually go from the center of the crossbar. You're going to have this arrow right here, and I'm going to measure from this point in the center of it to where this cross or tower begins. And I'm going to just double check both sides are even. Once you have everything in place, we're going to come back over here and then adjust our pitch. That's going to be this bolt that's closest to the interior of our crossbar. And if you reference your instructions, they'll let you know this is going to be in the A position. And a way to figure that out, you're going to have to do two things. One, you need to check where that arrow is on your crossbar to make sure that's pointing forward. And we want to make sure that this bolt is going to be furthest away from us now. I'm just going to pull on this. Once I've done that, I'll come back through and tighten this down. Once this is tightened all the way down, you'll hear a click. That's going to be the torque device, letting you know it's tightened all the way. And then we can adjust our toe. What's nice about our toe for this setup we have today is that's going to be on the 2 position, so that's going to be right in the center. So just make sure everything's centered up here, and then we'll just tighten down this bolt all the way. Once you've made these adjustments, you can repeat this process on the other side. We got our crossbar up here, and when you put it up here, you want to make sure that this thicker side is facing forward and this thinner side is facing behind us. And when you place it up here, we want to try to make it even on both sides. So you can actually reference your instructions to find what this measurement should be. This is going to be your M2 measurement. You're just going to go from the front where this base sits to the top of your windshield. After when you've double checked it's the same on both sides, then we can open up this access door. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver to do that because right now it's in the locked position. Just turn that over. And sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to open from this position, especially since it can slide around. So what I do is just get my flathead underneath this corner and lift up some, and it'll open up into place. And then I can grab my clamps. And like I said earlier, this is going to be your B43 clamp. And to get this on, we actually need to open up our door. And we'll lift up. And then to get this in here, we just have to lift on this drive bolt, push underneath. You might have to lift up on here a bit, but as you can see, it's not attaching it. So what I'm going to have to do is loosen up this bolt. And now you can see that hook is lining up with the opening of that clamp. So I'm just going to take that out, and now it's grabbed on. With that in place, we're just going to come over here, and we need to adjust 2 bolts. We're going to have our drive bolt right here, and then we're going to have our swing bolt up in this corner. It's kind of hard to see. We'll tighten that swing bolt first, and what this is going to do is I'm going to apply pressure downwards to the side of your vehicle. We just want it to make contact. Once it's making contact, then we can come over here to the bottom and tighten this down until this starts making contact too. Before we tighten this the rest of the way, we want to repeat this process on the other side, because if we tighten this side too much, it's going to give us an uneven fit on our roof. And what we're aiming to do here is just go back and forth to each side, tightening one side a little bit and then going to the other side too, until we get to the point where this feels like it's about tightened. And the way you're going to be able to tell is like we were doing earlier, when you can hear that torque device built into your tool start clicking, just like that, you know everything's tightened where it should be. I'll do the same thing up here for the swing bolt. When that's done, I'm going to close this access door. Make sure you do put this in the lock position, and then you can put on this end cap. And this end cap can be a little bit tricky the first time because it's still trying to learn the shape. But after when that's done, we can put on the rear crossbar. For the rear crossbar, there's going to be a few differences. Instead of using the M1 measurement, like I said earlier, we're going to be using the M3 measurement. And that's just going to be from tower to tower. And your pitch and toe is going to be a little bit different. It's actually pretty easy because they're both going to be in the center position, being that B and 2 position. When you're ready to put your crossbar up here, it's going to have a few differences from the front crossbar. So for this point, we're going to use the M4 measurement. That's going to be the distance from the back of this crossbar or from the center of the crossbar to the center of your rear crossbar. Now we actually had to make some adjustments. Ours was a little bit too far out, and what that was doing was these pads weren't sitting on this track right here, and actually we were on the outside of it. So to fix that, we actually brought this closer to the front crossbar, And right now we have about 28 inches. Yours might vary, just so you can get this on top of your roof. And we're going to use a different clamp. We're going to be using the B49 clamps on each side. After when you have both sides tightened into place, then I can take my end cap and secure it down. And from this point, I like to give it a good shake test. First, I should get everything in line. There we go. And here we're just trying to make sure nothing's shifting or moving. If it feels pretty good, then you can load it up with whatever accessories you have and take it out for a ride. But that's just a look at the Yakima Roof Rack with the FX Bars on our 2023 Nissan Rogue. Thanks for watching.